She got a donk. 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 What is up, guys? Today's video is all about how to grow and tone a nice firm looking booty, bottom, legs, if you will, as well. We're really focusing on growth of the glutes specifically. So this is a very common question I get asked by both guys and girls. But remember, you always want to grow your leg strength, right? Especially those guys that only like to do upper body out there. Remember, like any tower, you build your base up, the rest follows. That's going to increase that growth hormone and testosterone more than any other lifts when you do those squats, those deadlifts, those power lifts that require a large amount of muscle mass, and they grow a lot of base, right? And they stimulate that spinal cord. So you want to do a lot of these exercises to grow strong, healthy legs to support yourself, right? So in this video, we're going to talk about some of the most important exercises you can do, but keep in mind, diet is very important when it comes to growing muscles at all. You need to be bringing in more of a caloric surplus, but of healthy foods. Remember, what you consume determines whether you turn it into more of fat or more of muscle, right? So look at those videos about diet so programming your exercise to be specific to growing that muscle and focus on growing the muscles of the legs and glutes, and the rest will follow as it firms and tones out.
Numero uno of exercises to work the legs and especially the glutes is the deadlift. The classic deadlift, we'll be doing a few, so pay attention to the differences. For this one, you want to grab the weight, holding it straight in your arms, not bending them at all. You should be shoulder width apart with your toes forwards, or maybe about 5 to 10 degree angles out at most. From here, you're going to keep your head up and your core engaged, and most importantly, you need to keep that back flat. You don't want to slip a disc or hurt your back. From here, you're going to sit back into your chair, sticking your butt back while bending your knees. Try to make sure you're doing them evenly so the knees don't go too far over the toes, or you're not bringing your chest to the floor to put it more into your lower back. Focus on your breathing in on the way down and exhaling as you drive it up. Remember, this workout requires a large amount of muscle, so the more breathing and the better the control, the more you're going to get out of it. All right? It also loads the spinal cord and requires you to create a large amount of growth hormone and testosterone production to really grow that muscle development. Once again, you can see it from the side angle here. I'm keeping it as close to my body as I can. I'm sitting straight down. You can see it as a close-up angle here. Once again, it's really about sitting deep into that chair and driving your hips forwards as you exhale, squeezing the glutes and pushing from your heels. Very important you're looking up, right? Focus on where you want to go. On any of these lifts, you want to be keeping your head up and your core engaged, right? If you look down, you're already curving the spine, and it's going to mess up your lift even more. Focus on your control. Slow and steady, both directions, and explosive drive on the way up. So if you want to really isolate the glutes, since this is all about building the butt, try a sumo deadlift, right? So the difference between the classic and the sumo is like a wide stance. So you should see it should be just outside the shoulders, and your knees and toes should be in the same direction. Just wide enough that you can really sit into the chair, the same concept, while keeping your head and your core engaged, head up, core engaged, and sitting low into that chair. Focus on your breathing, again, and emphasize the glute squeeze as you drive your hips forwards, because again, we're really trying to focus on that booty work and focusing on building the glutes. All right, the third version of the deadlift I will show you now is the Romanian, aka stiff leg deadlift. And this is definitely going to really isolate the glutes even more, and it's all about angles. So for this one, you are bringing your chest forwards, sticking your bottom back, and pivoting at the hips, driving them forwards as you squeeze the glutes. Remember, you want to keep your back flat on all of these. You should have the same stance, shoulder width apart, and your head is up, core is engaged. Again, notice now I'm driving the hips back, but I'm not bending the knees going into a full, almost squat-like seat. I'm really dominating the hamstrings, glutes, and lower back, but especially really hitting those glutes and focusing on that drive from my hips. All right, so the next one is called a hip thruster, right? Now, there'll be an easier version of this in just a second, so if this is a little bit more challenging, or you don't have a bench or a couch that can support yourself, you can do it on the floor and do a bridge. So for this one, you want to make sure your shoulder blades and back are fully supported on your couch or your bench. You keep your feet together and knees together, and you put the weight right on your belt loop. From there, you're going to drive your heels, exhaling as you drive the hips forward, squeezing the glutes, and coming down slow and controlled. This one is really good drive. Again, I was reading a lot about it. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, loves this one especially. It is a great drive from the glutes, and you're isolating that area just like you did with the Romanian deadlifts. Now again, if you don't like to do it on a bench or you don't have the ability, you can always do a bridge. This is a great place to start, and it's just doing it from the floor, driving the hips up, squeezing the glutes, pushing from your heels. Big keynote though, don't let your legs go too wide. You want them in line stability, so shoulder, hip, knee, toe all the way down. They don't have to necessarily be touching, but you want them forwards to really maximize that area and get them highest out of it. Pausing at the top, and once again slowly coming down. You remember, you get a lot more out of it on the lengthening of the muscle than you do on the shortening of the muscle. So here's the same thing from a different angle, right? Knees are relatively about shoulder width apart. I'm driving it up, and I'm isolating the glutes. One of the best for glutes, hamstrings, and lower back. Alrighty guys, the next one we have going on is the squat. There's a bunch of different versions, just like the deadlift, but is like the deadlift, and it works so much muscle and requires a large amount of oxygen, a large amount of energy, and really stimulates the growth process to allow you to really grow those muscles. So for this one, I'm just holding the weights to my side. I'm shoulder width apart, my head is up, just like a deadlift. I'm sitting back into my chair, and I'm driving from my heels, making sure my knees don't go too far over my toes, but also that my chest doesn't lean too far forwards. Now, if you want to do a front squat and focus that weight a little bit more into the quad, bring it on up nice and high, and hold it about shoulder width apart. From here, it's the same story. Watch, my knees aren't wobbling all over the place. They're stable. You can draw a nice line down from my shoulder to my hip to my knee to my toe. When I'm doing it, I'm keeping my head up, looking where I'm going. I'm breathing in on the way down, exhale, driving from the heel. And of course, I got my buddy over here who likes to jump in all my shots, so do ignore the cat if you don't mind. And focus on the control. If you want to practice this move, a great way of doing it is doing it from a chair. That way you know you're going deep enough into it. You also make it a little bit harder because you lose the momentum of it. Now the other one, again, just like all of them, you can do a sumo. So this is going to isolate the glutes a little bit even more than the regular squats. Is going to do more quad and hamstring. Although it does work all of them, this one's going to really isolate. So again, it's wider stance. Toes are in line with my knee. I'm pushing from my heels. Again, my core is engaged. Head is up. Breathing in as I sit into my chair. Exhale, driving. Another great one you can also practice from a chair. Don't be afraid to go light or do it with just body weights until you get the form down. These are very important moves that you do correctly. Alrighty guys, we're going to go ahead and lay on our side and paint me like your French woman. Oh, just kidding. We're going to do some lateral leg lifts. So what you want to do is you want to stack your body as much as possible so that your hips are aligned on top of each other, your knees are aligned, and your toes are aligned. You want to keep your toe facing forwards as you drive that foot all the way up to the ceiling, squeezing the glute and slowly returning it back. Now you can add some weight to it as well, or if you have resistance bands, you can put them around your feet or your knees. Of course, the farther down your feet are, the more resistance it's going to have. And I like to do about a certain amount of time one way, and then I hold it in the air. So let's say maybe 30 seconds of movement and 10 seconds held in the air before I do it to the other side. So that way I know that I'm doing it nice and even, whether I'm doing rep count or whether I'm doing time base. You're focusing on the same reps, same time on both sides. And again, flipping over, making sure you're as sideways as you can go. This one really isolates the glutes and it hits the outside of the bottom, making it look a little bit wider.
Alrighty guys, those are some of the best exercises that you can do to strengthen tone the legs, especially areas like the glutes, quads, and hamstrings. Make sure you guys are following a plan. If you don't, follow the 5 principles of fitness, as well as make sure your diet is in tune to where you want it to be. Remember, you also got to give yourself the tools to grow that muscle. Follow these movements, change them up, change the weights, change the volume, but do these exercises in order to help strengthen and tone those legs. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you want more content, you can also follow my Instagram at GobelFitness.